Warning, this show contains adult language, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. Today's episode 226, and I want to talk about 2021 financial opportunities. And these are just a couple of views and things that I can see, some wonderful stuff. Before we get started, the background noise is my mobile studio, my F-350 7.3 liter 96 pickup truck, and it's very loud, but excuse the background noise until we get this podcast started and we get into a real studio. Well, let's jump into what we got here. I mean, there is a lot. I'm excited for a lot of people. I was very scared at first, especially for a lot of people that I'm joined with, you know, that I'm depending on. And I looked and I said, this just could get really nasty. And now I'm starting to see this as a big, giant, huge opportunity. I'm going to start off with one. I'm going to skip my notes over here. And that the deal is that nobody wants to work right now. This is, by the way, this is what, May, the third week of May, 2021. And there's a lot of jobs open. And McDonald's is paying $15 an hour. And granted, we have inflation. We're going to talk about that, but there's just so many people that don't want to work. I don't want to talk shit. Like, I hope I didn't in some of my Instagram posts and stuff. Like, I know a lot of people need to get the handout, the government help and all that kind of stuff, but I just want you guys to realize, those of you who do want to work, or those of you who think that you're just going to get, that you don't have to get the government handout, that you'll do it anyways, you're fucking up your life. Because if you're looking to get a car loan, a house loan, or get yourself financially, you're going to look like shit. So yes, the party, which some are saying can last for the rest of the year of 2021 with handouts and everything, but is it really worth it? And I look and I say, you know what? I don't think that it is. But what I do see for the people who do want to work is really, really tons of opportunity to pick up jobs that nobody wants. So if this was a time that you were in a job that you really didn't like, and you were like, well, you know what, I want to make a step forward, there's people wanting you right now. So if your boss is treating you like shit, you ask for a raise, or you just feel like you can take on a better job and make more money, this is the time right now. Now, granted, not all sectors are open, but there's a lot of opportunity. So you guys, if you're looking to upgrade your life and start living closer to the lifestyle you want to live, go out there and do that. I think I'm going to move on too. Many businesses are going to go down. So for the entrepreneurs, the business owners such as myself, there's a lot of companies that I don't think that they're going to be able to deal with stuff like inflation intellectually, like very smart. I think that a lot of companies are going to do like what my first impulse was. My business got affected finally too. And I looked and I was like, well, maybe I should just drop my prices and at least I can put food on the table. That's the worst kind of business you can ever do. The answer is to wait for good paying clients. But the point I want to make here is that a lot of businesses, I think, have already gone down in America here. I know we got listeners from different parts of the world. But yeah, if these businesses are going down, that knocks out the competition. It also opens you up to be able to pick up the slack where they left off from. So let's get back on track with my notes. I got so excited, I'm jumping all around over here. I'm just excited because what I thought would be something very horrible is actually turning into something really good for the time being. And I just want to pass that inspiration on to you guys. Like, look, dude, fucking go for it. Wake up, watch what's going on right now, stay aware, educate yourself, and move fucking forward. Always move forward, never look backward. Okay, so tons of jobs for grabs. Let's talk about what we just said, dealing with inflation. So there's a lot of clients, I think, right now, and I think this inflation thing is going to go on for people who are spending their money, buying shit, and investors, and also people starting businesses like trying in sales. A lot of the public is not comfortable with the prices. They get set in their old ways. You know, a car used to cost, like for instance, a truck like this would cost maybe $35,000, back in 2007. Now it's going for like $60,000, $70,000. And we're like, whoa, what? I can't afford that. But you got to watch the acceleration of inflation and the rise of the cost of everything. So when you're spending your money, I think you need to be very wisely to watch out that the dollar you're making now it's not worth what it was. It was not worth what it was just 2 months ago. So you got to stay on top of that. You got to invest very wisely. But for those of you selling jobs like myself, so that's what the same mentality as we just spoke about. When you go to sell a painting job, a pool job, a roofing job, or whatever it is that you're doing, these people are used to those old prices. Inflation went up probably, I'd say, by like 5% at least, 10% for at least for materials for the roofing sector. And so when you come with a job, you're going to be dealing against people who are still at the same prices, or people who are freaked out lowering their prices just to get the work. So it's a lose-lose situation for both people, because usually when you run out of money, the jobs can't really get done right. And I think you need to charge fairly what you need to charge. Now, before all this inflation and this talk of recession and all this kind of stuff happened, I figured out what I needed for my business. This is kind of on topic here, but off. The way I won my jobs is I lost a shit ton. I didn't give a fuck, though. I'd rather sit at home and do nothing than work for pennies on the dollar. So I sat down and I did the math, and I figured out what do I need to make. Let's just say you want to make $100,000 a year. I think that's a comfortable life. We need to dissect that and say, well, how much is that per month? Dissect that, how much is that per week? How much is that per hour? We need to understand net versus gross, what you actually bring home. Gross is the full money that you bring home, but after taxes, the net is what you're left over after you get fucking raped by our systems. So I think it's a game of cat and mouse where once you get booked up, there's a lot of time where I have downtime, but I have a lot of other things I'm doing in my life, as I love to share and teach on the show. Is like there's always work to be done. So it's not like I'm just sitting idle. But once I get myself booked up with these jobs, as I said, I found out what my cost was. My cost was a lot higher than most people, but I delivered and I sold it in a way where I could had proof of concept of why I do things better. I'd show pictures, I show the differences, physical form of materials. Here's why. I'd beat the hell out of a material with a hammer. See, this stuff is so gain people's trust and actually sold them something really good. So even before all this inflation and all this shit happened, still was making good money. And I almost fell in that old trap of like start lowering. No, instead of lowering, you need to start raising your prices up. So wait for the good paying clients. It's never worth it to satisfy everybody. Wait for those good clients, then you have less stress in your life and you're able to function and get the job done right. It makes you look good for your reputation. You know, you go and build something and it falls apart within a year, you're going to look like shit. People nowadays are really heavy on reviews and things like that. So I just thought I'd throw that message out there. And that's my thoughts on dealing with inflation. So there's a lot of jobs that other people just don't want to do. For instance, and I think this is these are open sectors for new businesses, side hustles. For instance, for me, right now, mainly roofing construction is what I'm doing. But somebody called and said, well, I have a rat problem. I think there's mice and rats getting in the other roofing companies, wouldn't even show up. They're like, well, we don't do that sort of thing. Well, I show up and I look, I said, well, maybe there's a hole in the roof, And I get up there and I look and I can see all kinds of areas where rats and mice and stuff can get inside of the housing structure. And I looked and I said, well, we'll do some rodent proofing. And the rodent proofing would take, it's going to cost about $250. Another $650 because what I noticed is there's sliding tiles, there's some broken concrete on there, there's some broken roofing tiles, sealants that need to be resealed. So I ended up turning this what most people would look and say, well, that's not really worth it. Within like 4 hours, you guys can probably get the gist here, really good money. So rodent proofing. I also started looking at, well, what's other things I can do to help sell jobs? Or what I can do is I can blow out gutters. I can do gutter maintenance. And you would look and go, well, that's just pennies on the dollar. Yeah, but when I get to the job and I look at the gutters, I noticed that their shingles are, and they got pigeons. We're going to need to pigeon proof and rodent proof. All of these things make sense, and you start getting these things going on a cycle. It actually starts really, really paying. You have to start looking for opportunities. In springtime, a lot of birds start migrating and nesting, and that's when they're going to start shitting all over the place, and it becomes a problem with people. So seasonally, there's a big job for, say, rodent, like pigeon bird proofing stuff. So, and here's the kicker. living here in Sunnyside, California, all the rules and regulations and money that we have to spend for everything is ridiculous. But if I started a side hustle of doing pigeon proofing and cleaning gutters, I really don't have to have a license. I need to have a business license, but I would nowhere near have to pay the liability insurance and workers' comp and everything that I'd have to pay on my my corporation. So you guys see how these side sectors can come. Now let's take a look where I can just hire somebody. How much experience do you need to actually hang bird proofing with a couple screws and things like that? You know, as long as you don't be a dummy and screw through a window or air conditioning system or something. You know, how much brains does it take to clean out a gutter? So now I can go and I can offshoot these kind of things, and I can actually start a whole nother side hustle in contrast to what I'm doing with the professional roofing business, and I've got another side hustle coming up that I can either take on, or I'm making money when I'm not even there. So you guys see the opportunities. A lot of things, a lot of small things that are overlooked by people who are maybe they got too much pride, or they're just not seeing where the money can be made. And the more diverse you guys get, the more things you have out there, the better we're going to do if this recession does hit really bad. And to deal with inflation is keep some cash flow anywhere you can. So yeah, many businesses may go down, and you guys can replace them. I think a lot of these, so sad, a lot of these restaurants, mom and pop stores and things like that. And I think a lot of this is due to, I want to give you guys my thoughts on automation. So I think that this automation was coming regardless. It was already in the works, all the robotics and stuff like that. If you've kept up on it and research, you would see that, 100%. It's just that's what was happening way before 2021, 2020. It's just that the pandemic and stuff, I think, started raising the bar on things. And my thoughts are, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here, but we have the government bailing people out, giving them checks and everything. It's like a child not wanting to do its chores, right? They get stuff for free. So we have places like McDonald's begging people to come to work, and they just can't find the help. So this is when I would look, and I believe that they have it, that they're able to automate a hamburger being made, a cheeseburger at McDonald's, which sounds delicious, by the way, a cheeseburger right now. Boy, I've been up since like 3 in the morning. I'm fucking starving. But anyways, I can see how they said, look, we tried to help you guys, but nobody really wanted to work. We gave you guys stimulus and stuff like that. That's why we had to bring in the automation on a lot of different sectors. So it kind of, if people look and go, well, robots are taking my job. Well, yeah, you didn't want to work. We had the pandemic, it was kind of scary. A lot of stuff couldn't get done with people. There's complete disruption in the supply chain on everything, just about everything right now. So I can see businesses having that excuse to go, well, we'll pay the robots to do it, right? I'll just invest in the robot, and they're going to make a hell of a lot of money. Now, where's the other jobs going to come from when people do decide to go back to work? I have no idea what that game is, but universal basic income, UBI, kind of makes sense where the government could just say, well, we'll charge taxes to business owners, and then we'll use that to just pay people just enough to survive, put them all in housing and things like that, while the rich get rich and the poor just stay neutralized, spadered and nuded, just about from their imagination. So I know there's a lot of different areas and views on stuff like that, but that's just one of mine there. But let's talk about automation. The way I look at this too is that whatever business you're starting, whatever job you have, you better be damn well aware. We talked about this back in 2019, I think 18 when we started this show. And yeah, whatever job you've got, you need to make sure that they can't automate it. I think everything is going to be automatable, if that's even a word. My home learned vocabulary, automatable. Look at this guy's making up fucking words over here. I told you guys I need a referee. But no, doesn't it make sense? There's LASIK eye surgery. You would look eye surgery. No, that you'd have to have a surgeon to do that. Nope, they've got it. It's this big giant robot goggle thing that they put on people's faces, and it's actually more precise than the human hand. And it made it more affordable for people who can't, the machine. They can pump out thousands of surgeries, and this thing is flawless. So therefore, the price of it goes down, and it's more readily available for more to the public. So I think if you do have a business, I'm all for automation if I could. It just seems like people don't want to work. And that to me, that's fine. I think that's one thing that we need to consider, is that the majority of people, businesses fail, all of you look at the statistics, most people are just not willing to put in the work. And I think of most people, very simply and observationally looking at, most people just want the path of least resistance. So if that's what they want, I would say automate your business. Go about your business and take care of it. Automate your life, I'd like to move on to. What I like to do is watch what's happening here with inflation and all of these things, and I think that automation has got a good role in producing things. And I don't mean producing to get rich off the poor and make stuff. Start moving you from a consumer to a producer. Utilize what the system is doing by automating anything that you can in your home. I just bought myself a little salad spinner thing to get, I'm harvesting lettuce and bok choy and all this. My garden's going apeshit now. And I never owned a salad spinner. I used to just put it in like a little cloth thing and spin it around on my arm. And I'm going, that's just way too much work. So I just spin this thing once and it just goes zzz, and while it's spinning and clearing my salad, I can go start chopping other vegetables, getting things done. All of these little tools and things like that. It's almost like having a maid. It is like having a maid. Right now, I'm not very proud of it. I use paper plates, paper bowls. That way, when I'm tired as shit and I get home and I'm cooking dinner and meal prepping and stuff, I use a paper plate as a cutting board so I don't have to wash the cutting board and I throw it away. Again, I'm not proud of it. I put all of our dinner on either a paper bowl or a paper plate. We eat. The only thing I got to wash is a fork or a spoon and I'm done. And I'm working on my system, automating and utilizing the crap, I would say, like paper plates and things. I fucking hate the system of paper plates. And I think it's rude, it's crude, and it's very dirty and not very beneficial to our planet. But it's getting me off the wheel, giving me time to think of things like I'm sharing with you today, where it's freeing up my mind and my time to get out, but not just get out temporarily. That's the big problem I see with all of this. The opportunity is to utilize the systems that we have to get off for good. I think most things that I see in the systems, my opinion, is that it's a temporary fix. It's a temporary vacation. It's 2 days off, 3 days here. That made my life easier for a while. What I'd like to see and what I'm designing in my life is to get out of the rat race, to get off this wheel and get off of it for good. That's basically the show before I take up too much time, guys. If you like this sort of thing, upandinit.com. That's where you guys will find the website, upandinitshow@gmail.com. You guys can email me. Let me know what you guys think, what you guys want to hear. Check out the show Up and In It on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere where they'll allow me to post these podcasts. And guys, as I always say, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.